Hi guys, it's Asia and today it trains cats and dogs. If you're like me and you've learned this idiom at school, then forget it. No one would say this in English anymore. Today I've prepared for you 25 super common idioms which you can use in typical IELTS speaking situations. And if you're wondering why I'm talking about idioms and IELTS speaking, well, that's because your examiner will check if you can use idiomatic language. And if you can use it naturally and accurately, it's a sign of a Band 9 score. Before we dive in, I just want you to know that now you can get all the strategies and tips for your IELTS speaking preparation that will help you achieve your best score in one single place. In my new PDF guide, I'm gonna link it in the description box below. Please check it out. And now, let's get started. The first one is a blessing in disguise. It means a good thing which initially seemed bad. For example, last autumn my company made me redundant, but it turned out to be a blessing in disguise. Just a month later, I found an amazing job. So, a blessing in disguise. And if your company makes you redundant, it means they let you go, but not because you underperformed, but because the company doesn't need you anymore. And the next one is the best of both worlds. It means to have advantages of two contrasting options. Let's say, in the afternoons, I often work from a co-working space, having the best of both worlds. I still work for myself, but I'm surrounded by people I could chat to. The next one is don't judge the book by its cover. It means you can't know what someone or something is like just by looking at that person's appearance or at that thing. In part 2, you often need to describe a person. So I could say, he often wears old discolored t-shirts and shabby shoes. But don't judge the book by its cover. He's one of the top paid architects in the country. If you're caught between a rock and a hard place, it means you're in a difficult situation. Imagine a rock and a hard place. So you have to make a choice between two equally unpleasant options. Let's say, at work, I found out that my friend is about to be fired, so I found myself between a rock and a hard place. Either I don't warn her about what's coming, or I disclose confidential information. The next one is to cut corners. It means to do something in the easiest, cheapest and fastest way, and it often has the negative meaning. Let's say, he often tried to cut corners, so I wasn't surprised when he was fired. A piece of cake. It means something is very easy. Passing that exam was a piece of cake. I hope you'll be able to say that very soon. The last straw. It means the latest in a series of problems, which makes the situation impossible to accept. Let's say, I'd been having problems with my landlord for a long time. But when he refused to replace the broken washing machine, it was the last straw, so I moved out. Next, to bite off more than you can chew. It means to take a task that's too big or difficult. Let's say, I volunteered to give a presentation at school a day before my exam, and now I have no idea how I can prepare for both. I think I've bitten off more than I can chew. To cost an arm and a leg, it means something is very expensive. The new Samsung smartphone costs an arm and a leg, but I've bought it anyway. Another way to say that something is very expensive is to break the bank. If you get asked, do you often go on holiday? You could say, with the current exchange rate, going on holiday would break the bank. There is no way I could afford it. To make ends meet. It means to make enough money to pay for food and bills. My parents raised 4 kids, so they often struggle to make ends meet. Bread and butter. That's how you earn money to live. Let's say, I do a lot of photography, but accounting is my bread and butter. It means accounting brings you most money you use to live on. To put all your eggs in one basket. It means to depend for your success on one person or one course of action. I'm applying to several universities because I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. Far cry from. It means to be very different from something else. The salaries in the banking industry are far cry from what they used to be. In the heat of the moment, it means you do something or say something because you're so angry or excited. In the heat of the moment, it seemed like the only thing I could do. To make a long story short, or to cut the long story short. It means to give a conclusion to a long story or to give a short summary. And you can use it in the end of your part 2 talk to indicate to the examiner that you're about to finish. To cut the long story short, it was a terrible trip and I was happy to be back home. Once in a blue moon, it means very rarely. My brother lives in Australia, so I see him once in a blue moon. A drop in the ocean. It means something is so small that it doesn't really have any real impact. Some countries plant new forests, but it's a drop in the ocean. The tip of the iceberg. It means there is a bigger hidden problem. When it comes to global warming, hotter summers are just the tip of the iceberg. Next, to go Dutch. It means to share the cost of something, especially a meal in a restaurant. Today, more and more young people prefer to go Dutch even when they are on a date. That's definitely true in the UK. Is it something you see in your country? To compare apples and oranges means to compare 2 completely different things. Let's say, I don't know which hobby I enjoy more, doing yoga or playing piano. It's like comparing apples to oranges. Not my cup of tea, it means you don't like something. I enjoy skiing, playing tennis and going to the gym, but jogging is not my cup of tea. Jogging is running. Food for thought. It means something is worth thinking about carefully. A good book always gives you food for thought. To have a sweet tooth. It means to love sweet food. I'm a sweet tooth and I love chocolate and all kinds of cakes. That's not true, by the way. Down to earth. To be practical and sensible. My father is a kind and down-to-earth man. That's true. As you can see, it's possible to use idioms in a way that is so natural that they attract no attention at all, but give you some extra points. And if you want to learn all the strategies that will help you achieve a higher score in IELTS speaking in one place, then please check out my new guide. I'm sure it will be super handy in your preparation. And thank you for watching me today. Good luck with your preparation and your exam. Bye!